Detective Furman, did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Mark Furman back on the stand, back in the spotlight in the Simpson trial, but he refuses to answer questions. While in Washington, Senator Bob Packwood gets a shocking rejection from his colleagues and vows to fight back. And a beleaguered game has a new immortal, Cal Ripken Jr., now in the record books, where he belongs. Good morning, everyone. I'm Charles Gibson.
And I'm Joan London. It is Thursday, September 7th, and it is a busy morning, but we'll cover it all, starting with Bob Packwood. Amid allegations of sexual and official misconduct, the Senate Ethics Committee unanimously recommended Packwood's expulsion. The first time in 13 years such a drastic measure has been taken, and we will hear from him in just a moment.
Also ahead this morning, the Simpson trial hits the home stretch. Now that Mark Furman has taken the fifth, the big question is whether he will do it again, but this time in front of the jury. We will speak to Simpson attorney Alan Dershowitz, and later in the hour, Roderick Hodge, the first African-American witness to testify that Furman used racist language, and we'll get an update on what this all means in terms of how the trial stands. Right now, a word about the weather. Spencer Christian.
All right, Charles Dolph Gibson. Hurricane Luis still in the news, strengthening now, and is once again a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 140 miles per hour. But good news, it is moving away from Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and all other populated areas. And in this half hour, we'll tell you if it's a threat to any other areas as the week goes on.
And we'll show you plenty from Baltimore, where Cal Ripken late last night broke the Lou Gehrig record. But let's get to the morning news and Morton Dean. Morton.
Charlie, it was an extraordinary yet brief event in the extraordinary long-running trial, the O.J. Simpson trial. After the tapes, after all the talk, Mark Furman back on the stand, back for about 5 minutes without the jury present. As ABC's Bill Ritter reports, it was noteworthy for what Furman did not say.
Detective Furman, did you plant or manufacture any evidence in this case?
I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
His testimony incriminated O.J. Simpson, but now forced back on the stand, Mark Furman didn't want to incriminate himself.
Was the testimony that you gave at the preliminary hearing in this case completely truthful?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Have you ever falsified a police report?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Convinced the former detective would say nothing more, Judge Lance Ito told Furman he could leave, and he likely will not return.
Mark Furman will never appear before this jury. The only question is whether or not the jury will learn whether or not Mark Furman took the Fifth Amendment to a series of questions, including the big one, did he plant the glove?
And that's exactly what the defense will argue, that the jury should know that the racist Furman who talked freely on tape didn't want to talk on the stand.
Even though the jury will be instructed not to think that taking the Fifth Amendment means Mark Furman planted the glove, given human nature, it's highly likely that many jurors will believe he took the Fifth because he did plant the glove.
Earlier in the day, Roderick Hodge, a black man, testified that he was taunted by Mark Furman during his arrest. All in all, a devastating day for the prosecution at a time when they can afford it least. Bill Ritter, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Senate Ethics Committee says Bob Packwood should pack his bags and leave. Packwood says he'll stay and fight. ABC's Bob Zelnick has more on the unanimous vote and the senator's angry reaction.
Packwood called the Ethics Committee's decision outrageous and said he has no plans to resign.
Folks, I can't recall when any American citizen has been put through a process close to an inquisition and never had a chance to face his accusers. Never, not once.
The committee found that between 1969 and 1990, Packwood had made at least 18 unwanted and unwelcome sexual advances, mostly to women on his Senate or campaign staffs. That he had illegally attempted to obstruct the committee's investigation by altering both taped and typewritten entries in his personal diary. And that he had tried to find a job for his former wife, thereby reducing his own support payments by approaching people interested in legislation he could influence. Packwood, who first opposed public hearings and later demanded them, never denied grabbing and kissing many of his female accusers. Instead, he claimed that he was a longtime alcoholic who couldn't recall many of the incidents. Senators familiar with the evidence, which the Ethics Committee will release today, call it overwhelming.
The bottom line is this is extraordinary, and So I think he's very weak now. He'd just be so much better off to resign.
Few on Capitol Hill doubt that many more than the 67 votes needed to expel Packwood could be found. And with Majority Leader Dole unlikely to let the matter linger, the pressure on Packwood to change his mind and resign could become irresistible. Mort?
Thank you, Bob. Bob Zelnick at the ABC News Bureau in Washington, and Senator Packwood will be here on Good Morning America in just a few minutes. The siege at Ruby Ridge, Idaho 3 years ago was the focus of dramatic, often emotional testimony. White separatist Randy Weaver tearfully telling a Senate panel how federal agents shot and killed his wife and 14-year-old son. Weaver says they were deliberately killed. Law enforcement officials claim the deaths were unintentional.
Oh, the closed.
A third day of NATO air attacks against Bosnian Serbs today. Some strikes on a Bosnian Serb barracks in Lukavica, that's just outside Sarajevo. Others reported nearby on Bosnian Serb bases in Pale. In Tahiti, some fires are still burning after violence erupted in the island's capital. Last night, hundreds of protesters moved from torching the airport to burning buildings downtown. The fires forced one hotel to evacuate its visitors. The trouble was sparked by France's underground nuclear test 750 miles from Tahiti. An extraordinary endurance record is broken. ABC's Dick Schaap says there was nothing ordinary about last night's baseball game in Baltimore.
He clobbers it to deep left field.
Once again, Cal Ripken couldn't have scripted it better. First, he hit a fourth-inning home run that turned out to be the winning run for Baltimore. Then half an inning later, when his consecutive game playing streak officially reached 2,131, breaking Lou Gehrig's 56-year-old record, Cal Ripken basked in a stunning display of public affection that persisted for fully 22 minutes. His father cheered him, his mother cheered him. So did his brother, his former teammate. Then his teammates prodded Ripken to take a victory lap, to tour the stadium and reach out to his fans, to friends and strangers, to rivals and teammates, to thank them for their love. And after the game, Ripken put his feelings into words.
I want to thank you, the fans of Baltimore, from the bottom of my heart. This is the greatest place to play.
The good feelings generated last night may last as long as Ripken's remarkable streak. Dick Schaap, ABC News, Baltimore.
And that is ABC News on the hour. It's 8 minutes after. We'll have a lot more on the Ripken record coming up here on Good Morning America. Joan, Spence?
Absolutely.
That's some record.
Yeah, great story. More thanks. You, of course, are following Louise. What's
Which
going
is
on?
pretty much a record setter himself.
Yeah.
Hurricane Louise actually right now is posing no threat to any major population centers, but it is still a very strong hurricane and gaining strength. So let me show you what's going on right now, Joan. Here is a satellite animation of the movement of the storm over the last 24 hours, and you can see that Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands were quite lucky as the storm made a sudden turn towards the north yesterday and moved away from those islands, doing just minimal damage in the Virgin Islands and virtually none in Puerto Rico. So now it's moving up into the Atlantic. High sustained winds, 140 miles per hour, still a category, once again, a category 4 hurricane, but at this point not moving in the direction of any land or populated areas. Back here on the mainland today, things getting cooler. Look at this. High temperatures in the north central states, 20 degrees cooler than they were just a day or two ago. Highs generally in the 60s and 70s there, 50s in the northernmost reaches. Skies are clearing, humidity is low, but thunderstorms and rainfall are rumbling along this funnel system, which ushered in the cooler air. That reaches from New England down to the southern plains, and it's going to be another wet and soggy day in the southeastern corner of the nation. That's a look at the national weather. Here's a look at what's happening where you are.
Spencer, thank you very much. The weather where we are, cloudy skies. We've had some drizzle reported. We've had some reports of some heavier rain out towards Sandy. It's 60 degrees over the Rose City right now. Let's turn our attention to the satellite imagery and find out what we can expect with the weather. Well, an upper-level low-pressure system here is going to bring more rain and showers and possible thunderstorms to northern Oregon and most of Washington. As it pushes out of the way, though, we will see a ridge of high pressure building in, and that will give us some clearing for the weekend, sending everything else to the north and east of us. But our forecast today is calling for scattered showers with a high of 73 degrees, winds from the northwest to 10 miles per hour. And the 5-day forecast calls for some morning clouds tomorrow with some partial afternoon clearing. Saturday gives us more sunshine, as does Sunday and Monday, as temperatures push back up toward 80 degrees. But today, if you're an Iron Man, you're going to rust in Portland anyway, as things will be scattered in showers. That's a look at the weather. Let's go back now to Good Morning America.
10 now past the hour. As Moore told you, the Senate Ethics Committee has voted unanimously to recommend that Senator Bob Packwood of Oregon be expelled for sexual misconduct and for other serious ethical violations. I spoke to the senator just a few minutes ago. Senator, I know yesterday you called the Ethics Committee action outrageous, but in order to avoid a divisive fight, would it not be more dignified at this point to resign?
Charlie, I don't think it's fair. Every place in America, it doesn't matter if it's you or the president of General Motors or the lowliest worker in a construction gang, when you're accused of something, you get a chance to face your accusers, a chance to question them. Of the 19 women that have complained, and there's only one in the last 12 years, 6 of them are anonymous. You've never interviewed them. I've never had a chance to question them. That just isn't fair.
Making that argument, can you get 34 senators to vote with you to stay?
Gosh, Charlie, I haven't even thought about it. I just heard about the Ethics Committee action about 12 hours ago, and I haven't even made any effort to find out.
Are you in a position now of going from senator to senator to ask for support?
Haven't even thought about that as we talked this morning.
Do you leave open the possibility of resignation?
I have no intention of resigning.
None. You will fight this through to the end.
I have no intention. I want the public to at least see the charges and see my responses, not just in a written record where I've never had any chance
to
face my accusers, but at least to have a chance to have the public see them and see me.
You say you haven't had the chance to face your accusers, but are you saying these women are not telling the truth, Senator?
Oh, no. In many cases, here's my problem. There are 19 complaints, although I want to say 19 complainants, actually. Only one in the last 12 years. But of those 19, unfortunately, 10 of them, I cannot remember. I don't know them. And of the incidents that they complain about, there's only 5 that I have any recollection of. 2 of them I dispute. One of them I have some slight difference of opinion with the woman. 2 of them I agree with. But the rest of them, it isn't a question, are they lying or not lying? I can add nothing to what they say.
The most serious charge, it seems to me, is the quote from the committee that you endeavored to obstruct and impede the committee inquiry by withholding, altering, and destroying relative evidence. Did you?
I did not. And they're talking about my diaries particularly, and I want to very clearly state something so that it's understood. Every original word in my diaries was turned over to the committees. Every original word. They were not misled. In no way did they read anything that would have caused them to think one thing and then saw the originals and think something different.
Well, I get confused because your secretary, who was transcribing the taped diaries, swore in a deposition that you had taken back the tapes and confirmed to her that you had altered them.
Yes, but what she was talking about were copies of tapes. I kept the originals. I gave the originals to the committee. They never looked at any altered transcripts and made any judgments upon it. When I was subpoenaed and was required to give to the committee all the information I had written, electronic tape cassettes or anything else, I gave them both the originals, which I'd kept, and they had never seen before, and the copy. What the secretary was transcribing from was a copy, not the originals.
And the final charge that's involved from the committee, that you had a plan to enhance your personal financial position by getting your ex-wife a job that would lower your alimony. Movements, they say, bring discredit and dishonor upon the Senate.
I endeavored, when my wife and I were separated and then subsequently got divorced, to get her a job. Interestingly, the committee referred this to the Department of Justice for criminal conduct. The Department of Justice looked at it very thoroughly. They interviewed everybody, deposed everybody, had people before the grand jury, And then they sent us a letter saying that they were going to dismiss it. We're not going to pursue it. I tried to get her a job. It was with old personal friends who had offered to help that I'd known 15, 20, 25 years, in one case 35 years. And in every case, it was to be that my wife was to do a full day's work for a full day's pay, and there was no connection ever suggested between a job for and anything I was doing in the Senate.
Just final question, Senator. The committee that you head is in the middle of issues that should preoccupy the Senate through the fall. Issues like welfare reform, Medicare, the balanced budget, taxes. Doesn't this fight over you, in effect, preoccupy the Senate, take it away from the business that it ought to be conducting?
Well, I would hope not, and I would hope that the Senate would not say what we have to do is so important that we're going to take away an essential American right of fairness from a senator, the right to confront his accusers. If we start down that road, if we start saying that procedures are not important, then I tell you, the person that controls the procedures of democracy controls the substance. You take away basic rights from anybody, from you, from me, from anybody. That's a dangerous road to tread.
Senator Bob Packwood, I appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you.
See you later. Thank you.
Senator Bob Packwood, Republican of Oregon, just a few moments before we went on the air. 16 minutes after, Mark Furman takes the fifth. What's left in the Simpson trial? We'll hear from defense attorney Alan Dershowitz when Good Morning America continues.
What makes Kaiser Permanente so different? Well, for one, I get to choose my own doctor.
Hi, nice to see you again. After all, I'm looking for a doctor I can feel comfortable with.
A doctor who helps me stay healthy.
A doctor who will see us when we need to be seen.
And with so many great doctors to choose from, I knew I'd find one who's right for me. Hey, nice shirt. Kaiser Permanente, different from the ground up.
How would you like to buy a luxury hotel quality mattress at a bargain mattress price? The Simmons Company called with an emergency. They had hundreds of sets for a luxury hotel that had to be sold fast. So Schleifer Furniture bought them all at an incredible discount price. Now you can sleep on a luxurious Simmons mattress, including Beauty Rest, just like those sold to leading hotels worldwide. And wait till you see the discount price. Schleifer Furniture, your mattress store, Southeast Grand Avenue at Stark, where every time you walk in, you save.
Chopard Casimir, Parfum Chopard, invites you to journey in the footsteps of 1001 Nights to a land that awakens passion. Chopard Casimir, this is the woman. Chopard Casimir, this is the fragrance.
Your bonus with any $40 purchase, available at Meyer & Frank.
When KATU Spirit 2 and Kaiser Permanente got together with hundreds of other volunteers for the Day of Caring, great things happened for the needy in our community.
I'm Steve Dunn. By helping real people, we discovered how United Way can change people's lives every single day.
Help us turn the Day of Caring into a year of giving. Share the spirit of helping others. Give to the United Way.
Izzy's, Kaiser Permanente, and KATU Spirit 2, committed to making a difference in our community.
Well, there were only 4 questions asked of Detective Mark Furman, but each time the exchange was dramatic and the answer definite.
Detective Furman, was the testimony that you gave at the preliminary hearing in this case completely truthful?
I wish to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
And with those words, Mark Furman added a new twist to the many twists and turns already taken in the Simpson case. Joining us from Boston to discuss the latest testimony, attorney Alan Dershowitz, a member of the O.J. Simpson defense team. And Alan, good morning.
Good morning, John.
It was incredibly brief, but how significant was this for the defense?
Very significant, because the Supreme Court has said that you can draw an inference of guilt from the invocation of the Fifth Amendment as long as it's not done by a criminal defendant. For example, had Furman taken the Fifth 2 months ago while he was still an L.A. policeman, he could have been fired from his job. In a civil case, for example, if you're in an automobile accident and you invoke the Fifth and you hurt somebody, in the civil case they can draw an inference of guilt. And we believe that the jury should know that Mark Furman pleaded the Fifth when he was asked if he planted any evidence in this case. so that they can draw whatever inference they feel is appropriate in this case. Remember, he's not a criminal defendant, and there's a lot of confusion about what the Fifth Amendment means, but in a case where a person is not a criminal defendant, it's appropriate to draw an inference from his taking the Fifth Amendment.
Now, what more does the defense plan to do now with Furman in his testimony?
Well, we'd like to put him in front of the jury. We'd like to ask him a series of relevant questions that will go toward proving that he tampered with evidence. Remember, there's already a lot in the record. First, Furman was outside of the crime scene alone for 15 minutes in the dark. He said it was in the light, but we now have proof that it was in the dark. The glove itself was damp, as it would have been had it been planted, not if it had been put there at 10:40. It didn't fit. There was suggestion or evidence of blood having been placed on the gate. And so there is evidence, and the fact that the tape showed that he was capable of planting evidence, and now it's capped by the fact that when asked the direct question, he invokes the Fifth Amendment. Mr. Simpson's rights of confrontation under the Sixth Amendment require that he be able to confront Furman about his invocation of the Sixth Amendment in front of the jury.
Yeah, you obviously want that jury to hear him take the Fifth, but what expectations do you have of Judge Ito that he might throw some roadblocks in here?
Well, Judge Ito has thrown roadblocks consistently in front of the defense in this case. He has a California precedent to support him, but the Ninth Circuit, which is the United States Court of Appeals, which governs California, has a clear rule that you can draw an inference of guilt from the invocation of the Fifth Amendment. So I think we're going to put a lot of legal precedent in front of him to argue that he is required under the United States Constitution to give Mr. Simpson the right to confront Furman with this Fifth Amendment invocation.
Alan, let me just ask you, I mean, all this attention is being put on Mark Furman and the evidence he found, but what about all the evidence found by others? I mean,
remember
the trail
that,
of blood. Why should this impact that?
Well, remember that Officer Van Adder was also found to have lied by Judge Ito, reckless disregard for the truth, in a perjured affidavit that he submitted. As far as the other blood is concerned, there's also evidence that there was blood on a gate that didn't exist on the day after the crime and suddenly appeared in photographs weeks thereafter. I think the jury is perfectly free to draw inferences from what they've heard that, as Dr. Lee said, something is wrong with the evidence in this case. And we have built a very substantial circumstantial case sufficient to raise clearly a reasonable doubt about the manner by which the evidence was gathered in this case and evaluated.
And what about the other testimony yesterday, for instance, Roderick Hodge?
Whose testimony?
The testimony yesterday of Roderick Hodge.
Oh, well, that certainly adds into this attack on Furman's credibility. It showed an independent lie. Namely, Furman had also said that he had never directly addressed an African American by using that racial epithet, and here was credible testimony, not cross-examined effectively at all, which showed that he had used the racial epithet in his work while he was working as a policeman.
Court, Bob, obviously continuing today, and we'll check back with you. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
We'll be back.
When you're in pain, you don't want to just ease the pain or lessen the pain. You want to stop the pain. That's why I use Motrin IB.
Motrin IB. The pain stops here.
Pork chops, tough or dry? Then get Shake and Bake. Chops are always plump and juicy, the way your family thinks they should be. It's simple. They want Shake and Bake.
Emily! Come on!
23 years from now, Emily will have become the first woman to win the Indianapolis 500. She will have set a land speed record of 454.32 miles per hour at Bonneville.
Emily!
And she will have eaten 3,234 bowls of warm, nutritious, instant Quaker oatmeal, usually maple and brown sugar. Accepting the trophy at Le Mans, she will have this to say.
Thanks, Mom.
Quaker oatmeal. Oh, what those oats can do.
Mom, I'm tired of this argument. I've already found the place.
Do you think you're being realistic?
I know I want my own place.
What if the nurses don't work out?
Well, they're wonderful. And, I'll always have you.
Interim Health Care. We provide home health care for the people you love.
Kids go for what kids love. And moms choose great-tasting Flintstones nearly 3-to-1 over any other brand. your kids had their Flintstones today?
Want an easier way to get rid of soap scum? Better call your RainSoft water treatment dealer today.
Bringing you the spirit of the Northwest. We are KATU. Now, Channel 2 News.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Janice Weibel. It's 7:25. Hope your Thursday morning is off to a great start. Here's Dennis Norden with the Morning Commute. Good morning, Dennis.
Well, good morning, Janice. A couple of problems this morning. One is on Highway 99E, just a little bit north of Canby. We've got problems with an accident there. Lifeline has just left the scene. 99 was closed for a while, has just been reopened, but still some lane restrictions. Also, a three-car crash on 238th between Gleason and Halsey. Dennis Norden, Watch Traffic.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Well, in about 40 minutes, the Senate Ethics Committee is expected to announce its reasons for unanimously voting to expel Bob Packwood from the Senate. We will bring you that conference live at 8 o'clock. This morning, Bob Packwood is saying that he will not resign. His Senate seat and is gearing up for a fight. Yesterday, Packwood immediately reacted to the committee's decision, saying all he has wanted was to get a public hearing and face his accusers. Well, here's what's going to happen next. The committee's recommendation will go to the full Senate, where the 2/3 of a vote is needed for expulsion. If Packwood is expelled or resigns, Governor Kitzhaber would have to set an election date. And this morning, the governor is among those calling for Senator Packwood's resignation. While taking phone calls on the radio show Ask the Governor, Kitzhaber said the senator should put the interests of his state before his career and advised Packwood to step down. Well, if he's thrown out of office, Packwood will lose his retirement pay, health benefits, and privileges of being a senator. In other news, a 3-alarm fire this morning sent firefighters scrambling to a building described as a large log cabin at 2680 Southwest Shoals, Sherwood Road. It's believed a large propane tank explosion set off the fire. Early reports indicate one person is missing. An update now on a shooting that left one man dead and neighbors in shock. 24-year-old Robert Bradford was shot and killed early Tuesday morning after a woman alleged Bradford confronted her in her home. The killing shocked his wife and parents, who say Robert had no reason to attack anyone. A grand jury will decide if the shooting was in self-defense. Ron Peterson has our forecast. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, Janice. We're looking at cloudy skies and a temperature of about 60 degrees here in the Rose City. Let's turn attention to the satellite photo real quick and see what we can see with Hurricane Luis. There's the close-up view of it. It is 220 miles north of San Juan, Puerto Rico. And with that, we will see that it's going to move, for the most part, in this general direction, so that Bermuda may be the next land area to be concerned, and that's 2 or 3 days off yet. Low pressure system steers it this way, may keep it away from the continental U.S., but still, we just have to keep an eye on Category 4 Hurricane Luis. Scattered showers, the Portland forecast, the high of 73 degrees today, winds from the northwest. We'll see some partial clearing tomorrow afternoon. We'll see sunshine Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as the temperatures push back up toward 80 degrees for the weekend. That's the weather, Janice. Back to you.
Thanks, Ron. And thanks for making us a part of your morning. Again, stay tuned at 8 o'clock for the live news conference from Washington, D.C.
To demonstrate the uniqueness of a Beauty Rest mattress by Simmons, we're dropping the ball. To show you that only Beauty Rest uses individually pocketed coils to help assure you undisturbed sleep, no matter what's rolling around next to you. Beauty Rest by Simmons, the Do Not Disturb mattress. From Levitt's, America's largest dealer of Beauty Rest. Queen size Beauty Rest starting at $3.99. No money down, no monthly payments, no interest if paid in full by the January due date.
If you're watching KATU Channel 2 in one of these locations, you may be able to receive a clearer signal by tuning to the UHF channel listed for your area.
I don't play a farmer on TV.
I really am one!
A group of us farmers came up with the idea of packaging and selling what we grow ourselves. New Farmer Direct flour and pure natural sugar.
Watch your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We really grow this stuff.
This is a pretty sophisticated operation. We ship it to the store as fast as the law allows. We're very picky about what goes in here.
Look for it here.
Direct to you from the best in the field.
Great.
Say, do you want me to accent best?
On the next AM Northwest, this family wanted to go from shaggy and baggy to beautiful and youthful. See how new clothes, hair, and makeup made their day today at 9.
Starting Monday, get in the early morning spirit with a Channel 2 News wake-up call.
starting at 5:30 a.m. The latest overnight news developments start your day, along with the latest weather forecast. Get updated traffic conditions for your morning commute and the early stock reports from home and abroad. Get in the early morning spirit with the Channel 2 News wake-up call, starting Monday at 5:30.
Next, Sally, will a wife forgive the affair with a babysitter?
From the Federal Aviation Administration's automated flight service station at Prescott, Arizona. Good morning, America.
And good morning, everyone. I'm Joan London.
I'm Charles Gibson. It is Thursday, September 7th. Good to have you with us. Congratulations, Cal, but we'll talk more about that in a
There's
minute.
been a lot going on. We are going to continue our coverage of the O.J. Simpson trial in this half hour. First up, Roderick Hodge, the first African-American witness to tell the jury that Detective Mark Fuhrman did, in fact, use a racial slur in direct contradiction to Fuhrman's own testimony. And this was just one of several bombshells from the trial yesterday, and we will discuss them all with our legal editor, Arthur Miller, and a reporter who has been covering the trial since the first day.
And back to baseball in this half hour. Baseball as we never thought we'd see it again. The record everyone thought couldn't be broken has been broken. Last night in Baltimore, Cal Ripken Jr. beat the record set by Lou Gehrig in 1939 for consecutive games played. Cal played game number 2,131, and it turned him into a legend. In just a few moments, we'll take a look at the man in the moment that made history. But let's get to the news and Morton Dean. Morton?
Charlie, former Detective Mark Fuhrman is a man behind a new shield, the Fifth Amendment. Without the jury present, Fuhrman refused to answer questions, 3 questions. Had he lied in previous testimony? Had he ever filed a false report? Or had he planted evidence against O.J. Simpson? O.J. Simpson's lawyers are now fighting to bring Fuhrman in for a repeat performance, this time with the jury present. Senator Bob Packwood says he won't resign, but the members of the Senate Ethics Committee want him to go voluntarily or involuntarily. All 6 members voted to expel Packwood from the Senate for sexual and official misconduct. Packwood complains he's being treated unfairly. Federal agents defend their much-debated siege at Ruby Ridge before a Senate committee today. There was tearful testimony yesterday from the white separatist who was the object of the siege. ABC's Julie Johnson is covering that story.
The hearings gave Randy Weaver a chance to tell his side of the story about what happened 3 years ago on an Idaho mountain called Ruby Ridge. Federal agents staked out his cabin and planned to apprehend Weaver after he failed to appear in court on gun charges. But in the process, agents killed his dog. Then they gunned down his 14-year-old son, Samuel.
We just went berserk. All of us. We just lost it. And my wife's going, he's not dead, he can't be dead.